He is a master at doing these. I brought the pieces to the meeting a few months ago. There was one that's 24 inches tall and 22 inches wide. And there was like 187 beads down, and then like 176 lines drawn around. So there's over 28,500 little squares on here. And you got to do each one at a time. So I'm just going to go into the process of this. I've never made one before. I know how. Just like segmenting wood. That's what he did. All these pieces are little blocks of wood about yay big, glued together and turned into the shape. And that's something I will never do. It hurts my brain. I mean, Carl Schneider, he was in, yeah. His brain works that way. Carl Schneider, he was an engineer. He could probably handle it, but me, no. And I won't be doing much of this, but some people would be interested in it. And it's just the process, not just to do this stuff, but using the beading tools and possibly making your own beading tools, because I'll be showing that. Now, these were done with a 1/8 inch wide beading tool, all these beads. That great big one was 1/4 inch. I couldn't find my 1/8 inch beading tools, but this is like 5/16, and I will be using a 3/16 one on this piece. It's for demonstration purposes only. Try this at home. Okay, I have a piece of podocarpus wood here. It looks similar to maple, but it has grain kind of like olive wood. It's wonderful stuff. If you ever get a chance to get some podocarpus, get it. It hedges a lot around these 3 counties. I don't know where else in Florida, but it grows into big trees too. I know where there's some trees this big around. And this piece came from a tree down in Boca that came down. Gerhard, those of you who remember Gerhard, told me about that, and I went and got big chunks of it, and I only have a few pieces of this left. But I recently picked up 2 logs like that. One of my neighbors was having bulk trash, and just for some reason there was only 2 logs, so they're sitting in my driveway. Now Ralph is the only one that knows where I live, so keep your hands off, Ralph. Remember that, mahogany's in the back shed. Okay. First, I'm going to create a little bit of a shape on my piece. All tightened up. And Cindy will be making a bunch of shoe covers in the future, so anybody's interested in these, you can turn wood all day and you will not have a particle in your shoes.
Wobble around on you.
I typically I usually have shorts on. I just know this room is freezing all the time. And the thermostat was set on 60 when I came in here. Jesus. Because Brian said it's the only AC unit in the building that's working. Okay, I want to start off. I've already roughed this out and put my tenon on. This up here. So I just want to kind of create a shape, something similar to this shape. I will be doing a rim on the top, either a flat one or a raised one like this, and then go down from there with the beads. Let's get my old guy glasses on so I could see better up close. Ouch. This wood turns extremely nice too. Now there's a gentleman called David Nittman. Some of you new turners probably don't recognize the name, but do you know if he came up with the basket illusion? Bruce? Brian? Or somebody else did it. He became famous for making them. He'd make these great big bowls and platters and do that inside and outside. There'd be like 50,000 individual burns on these. And that big piece I got, there's over 28,500 burns. If you count the beads on here and then the lines going around, there's over 100 different lines going on this piece here. So we can pass a couple of these around. And again, the patterns vary. And you can do them. The one I saw, the guy had a section, and then right in here, he had like that guy that you see on some of the stuff going like this with the hair sticking back. He had one of those drawn with all the little squares. So it's up to you what you want to do on there. Can you still hear me with this on? Okay. Just using a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. And remember, any new folks, you want to try and be rubbing the bevel slightly, just keep in contact with that throughout your cut. And when you're doing beading with the beading tools, you want your outside shape done, your overall shape, because you can't go in and keep going in like that to change the shape. When you're doing the beading and going in, as soon as that gets round, you got to stop. Otherwise, it'll start creating problems. So I got a little bump right there. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, I forget who it is, Mike Mahoney. You can see right here, this join. The bottom will be somewhere in here. So instead of me right through here having a smooth, I think Mike Mahoney said you put a corner there. That helps your eye determine where the bottom's actually going to be. So instead of that smooth transition, I come in and put that little edge there, and that gives me a better track to follow. I'm going to clean up the top here. And this piece is oriented in grain. The fibers go along the bed of the lathe. How much time we got left, boss? And anytime you have questions, just let me know. Just made a little pilot hole. Whenever you put your Jacobs chuck in, give it a jump so it locks into place. I want to turn my speed down. It was about 1550. When you're drilling, you should be 500, 600, 800 RPMs. Go in slow to get your hole to start true. That's not working so good. Okay, we'll drill a hole with the spindle gouge. I think my drill bit was a little extra dull. So I want to first true up my center because it's wobbling a little bit. Okay, I want to get my cutting edge. This is just a scraper. I brought that to show because there is a beading cutter with two different sizes and a valley cutter here. With the tool, the cutting surface level, I want the cutting edge right on dead center or slightly above. This is a scraping cut. Just trying to true up the inside here. And that's not working very well. Okay, that's true. All right, when drilling with a spindle gouge, 3/8 is about the biggest you want to go. Now this doesn't work with rosewood because rosewood is too hard. Mahogany works, softer woods. This is on par with mahogany, maybe just slightly softer. With the tool level, first you need a nice fingernail profile. Your cutting edge with the tool level needs to be right on dead center. This is a little low, so I like to just put it on center, raise that up, look at it, lock it, recheck it, get that on dead center. What do you think? That looks pretty good to me. Now, if you're too high, it's going to go in about ½ inch and stop and create problems. If you're too low, it'll go in, and you can keep going in, but it's going to be jumping around like that. If you're right on dead center like that, it should go in, and you can drill like the hole deep as you need to. And again, on real dense woods, it does not work with this. Use a drill bit. About the same, 700 RPMs. $624. And you want to line the tool up right down the center of the bed, have it against you, and we're going in like that, not just your arm. I'm going to speed that up just a hair more. So go in. Now I'm going in and ever so slightly pushing down. Get out. When you come out, make sure this left edge doesn't catch the left side of the hole. You can touch the right side all you want because the wood is coming up and it won't grab. You come in with the left and hit that edge, it can give you a grab or a dig in. And then you get these really cool little curly things. I have a jar full of these I was doing with Norfolk, and they came out, they look like some ancient grass with the yellow and the spalted on there. I'm doing a piece, I'm carving this little like prehistoric creature from underwater, and he's going to have one in a claw and one in his mouth, and there's going to be a bed he's going through and some knocked down, and I forget the name I was going to call it, but Ancient Harvest. Just because those little twirly curls gave me that inspiration. They're fatter than a pencil, and they're really neat. See, I'm just pushing in and going down. When I go in, I'm keeping it to the right so it can ride on there. Richard Raffin used to go in and drill this hole, and then he would go like this and just hollow out a box that quick with this. But you have to, you'll be cutting on this edge, and you have to have it angled such that this bevel is rubbing as you're doing that cut like that. It comes out really fast. That's not a beginner's cut. See, and I'm putting my thumb there so I could check my depth. That's deep enough for now. Just want to double check the tightness on this. See, I thought it moved just a hair. And that's kind of because I cut this tenon for a chuck with straight jaws and teeth inside. This is a Vic Mark chuck with dovetail, but my other chuck did not have the indexing points on it that this one does. This has 24 pin points in the back and on the side. Because I'm going to show you a couple different ways you can do the indexing for the lines on here. And me doing a flat tenon on a dovetail chuck, that's why I can create problems, because the jaw was just touching all the way up underneath the edge here, and compress that wood. That's why it came a little loose. All right, now I was going to hollow this out, but I needed a bigger hole. Maybe the drill bit will work better now since we have a pilot hole. Anybody want this one passed around too? Go deep. We'll just try this, and the demonstration's not about hollowing and creating a hollow form. It's about the basket of illusion part. So if this works out great, fine. If not, this thing needs to be cleaned up or something. Because I've got this loose and it's really hard to turn. And when you're drilling a hole, you should only do 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's dry wood, 6 is fine. And then get it out. If it's wet wood, maybe you want to do 4 and clear it out. Woo. Wow, it changed the color of the wood. Anybody want this passed around? a little warm. Okay, I at least want to hollow inside the top a little bit. I'm not going to hollow this out like I normally would. But when you're doing something, we're going to be doing beads all the way down, you want the wall thicker than if you do a lot of thin hollow vessels, you want a little thicker. You can feel how heavy this piece is. That's thicker than I usually would make a piece, but at a show, customers don't care. So if you want to impress other wood turners, you know, do all the thin, fancy stuff. Otherwise, leave them thick. Okay, this is my favorite hollowing tool. It's an outrigger tool. And in all of our tools, you got 3 motions. You got up and down, left and right, and then you have roll. This eliminates the roll. The Trent Bosch system, the articulating arm ones, they eliminate the roll. You got left and right. Up and down is kind of taken out of that too. The Jameson style with the big D bar and the second tool rest, that'd be like this with the cutter here. Just eliminates the cutter being offset, which causes the tool to roll. So I like this one just because of the maneuverability of it. And again, I'm changing tools, so I need to check the height. Every tool, a lot of them are different thicknesses. My cutting edge needs to be on dead center or slightly above inside on scraping cuts. So I'm slightly above here. And somebody came up with a handle like this a while ago. This is a 1/2 inch Jacobs chuck. You can buy them. Lowe's used to sell them. Just this top piece, and my buddy Larry's stuff, those tools back here I'm selling from my buddy Larry. He's got some medical problems and he can't hardly function anymore, so I'm selling his tools. This was in the batch. I'm giving this to Carl because he wanted to make one of these. And I suggest getting the keyless one because it's a lot less trouble. So you need to put a bolt in here. I like just taking a bolt and screwing it in, cut the head off, grind that, and it's a standard size. I think that's 1/2 inch, the fine thread. I don't know if it's 1/2 inch 18 or 1/2 inch 24. And that you just screw it down tight, then you have your handle. I mean, I have 3 of these, and I use them for my hollowing tools all the time. Now, I'm not going to have the tool way over there, so my tool rest can end right there because I need the rest of it back this way. And this is a scraper. Scrapers like speed. As long as your piece is running true, you want the speed to lathe up. We're about 1400 and a little more. This is a fairly small piece. I'll clean up my edge. And I usually do this sitting on my butt on a bar stool. I sit down, this goes in my armpit, and I just rock back and forth like that. You can literally do it like this, or like that. It's so easy. And the other styles, you can sit down and just hold them and go like that. I mean, if we can not use so much energy by sitting down to do it, it's easier. And I just want to get inside the rim, just to define that. Everybody's favorite, the hot air compressor. Okay, I'm going to do just slightly more. Now there is the pith of the tree was right here. There's kind of a crack coming off here, a little bit more there. And this piece started off about that long. It was already rounded and had some serious cracking here and here. But that's not going to really be an issue. Turn this a little. Just trying to keep the part that's supporting the tool close to the wood. Yeah? High-speed steel color? Yeah. Well, this is a 3/16" square high-speed steel with 10% cobalt in it. Stays sharp a lot longer than regular high-speed steel. Use any carbide? Well, yeah, I do use carbide ones too. But carbide is just a harder material, stays sharp longer. They're not this magical, mystical creature that they're purported to be. It's just a scraper made out of a harder material. Okay, that's all the hollowing I'm going to do. Pass that around and look at it. I mean, undo the thing, take the tool out, put it. You could put any size drill bit in there. If you don't have a Jacobs chuck, you can make your little pilot hole with your parting tool, and you can take a drill bit on there and just go in and drill your hole. I wouldn't use Forstner bits, but the regular twist bits won't be that bad. Yeah. I had a buddy who used to make those. Some guy back in the 90s invented that. And I love it. I've got like 5 different sizes of those. I have one that's 1 inch and it's about this tall and the bar comes out. And after I made it with the bar that long, the side, I thought, you know, I'm already that deep into a piece with my smaller bars. That side piece don't need to be so long, so I cut about 1 foot off of the side. This is the one I start almost every piece with. And I have one that size with the teardrop flat cutter that I can articulate whatever edge I want. I use that when I do lampshades. But this is fast hollowing. Okay, now I want to put the tailstock in just for support, because we need to use this as much as possible until it gets in our way. I'm leaving the little rim on the top. My outside shape is done. You can just set that on the table over there. I do need one up here though. This one will do. Okay, now I'm going to roll my beads, and we start at the top and work all the way down, because our first bead, we want clean transition off of whatever our top rim is. Maybe you don't have a rim. You can do that. Maybe you're doing a bowl where you're going to have beads come all the way up on top and go down inside the bowl, or a platter. You can do that too. So we're starting at the top. What is our most featured part? Okay, this is the beading tool I'm using. These are the Sorby. They come individually or a set of 5. The 2023 catalog I have, this is like 44 bucks. And prices have gone up since then. And this is one tool where you want to have a protective cover to it, just like thread chasing. As soon as you're done with it, put that back on. You drop that on one of these points and break that off, you're going to grind a lot. There's not a whole lot of flute on here for you. You can sharpen them from the top. Either put it, first add a little tongue oil. Sometimes that don't taste good, but that worked out. You sharpen it from the top. Whenever you need to, just go on your grinder and make sure you're straight and just bring it down till your 2 points are sharp. Now when these are brand new, the 2 sides here, maybe you can see better on the big one. The 2 outer sides were angled out quite a bit more, and I wanted deep, crisp grooves, so I ground the 2 sides back a little bit, and that made it a little better. Now another option is this tool, and it has the cove cutters on here, but it also comes with beading cutters. And this may be handy because you can position them out to the side or at different angles. If you're transitioning into a piece, you maybe want to use that, and instead of having them straight off the front like those tools going around, you'll angle them to come in with that. Now also, what do you do with worn out gouges that the flute is so short you can't do anything with? There was an article like June 2015 in the AEW magazines. It's got 2 of Jacques Vestry's pieces on the front on how to take a spindle gouge or a bowl gouge and grind the bottom, and it is a perfect arc. This can be a beading tool. I had this bowl gouge. I've had this one for 25 years. It's really short. And I had another one which I wore down even more. And I took it apart and gave 2 of these to a buddy of mine who makes knives. And he said, yeah, that's some of the best steel you can get for making knives. But I took this bowl gouge, we'll pass this around, and did a flat on there, and we got like a perfect 3/16 inch bead here on the corner. So before I do that, we passed the spindle gouge around. Yeah, you can pass that around. So that's a good 1/2 inch wide bead. Now I'm going to take this out, put another piece in to show the difference. And before I take this out of the chuck, since I'm putting it back, I did some marks here, marking the jaw at number 1, because I want it back in that exact same spot. If I put this in 90 degrees or 180 degrees, it's probably going to wobble. But this will go back in the exact same spot. Look at that, perfectly true. Okay, now, beading tools are essentially scrapers. So treat them like a scraper. We're on the outside of our piece. The top cutting edge should be pointing right at dead center or very slightly below. Remember, on the inside, tool level, dead center or slightly above, outside at dead center or slightly below. So that usually means we need to lower our tool rest and have it a little further away. Whoop. That's not a gouge anymore. Okay, let's say this is my piece I'm going to be doing. Now, scraping cuts like speed, so I'm going to come in, first adjust my tool rest. I'm about 3/4 inch away here because scrapers, you need, especially outside, you need a little room. I want to come in with this tool. Now, Jim Anderson, he shows using the D-Way scrapers. They have, it's a square tool, I believe it's rounded on the one side, and there's a flute cut all the way down. And he uses them like this, angled up. And he says all you do is wiggle them back and forth like that. And if you Google wood turning basket illusion, he is like the 3rd video on YouTube. And you can see that. There's other people on there doing that. But this one, this is going to be the top. I'm going to come in on the corner. And I like just going straight in. Once in a while, I'll go a little left and right. And the thing to remember with scrapers is about 1/8 inch of cutting edge cutting the wood at one time. 1/4 inch max. So if this is 3/16 and I come all the way around here, that's almost a 1/2 inch of cutting edge touching the wood. So you can't push on it really hard. You crank the speed up, do a light cut. I like to just go in and out, in and out, in and out. So when I reach my surface here, you got to stop, because if you don't, the fibers are this way, and if you keep trying to go deeper, up here on the top of that point, it'll be grabbing and popping the little fibers off, especially on soft woods. This does not work well on soft woods. You'd be better trying to roll beads with a skew or a spindle gouge than a scraper beater. And there's also one with, it comes up like that. You have a point in the center and 2 curves coming out. You're doing like the left side and the right side of a bead, then you go over, you do the left side and the right side. Works basically the same way. See, I like just going in and out, in and out. I can roll left and right a little bit. See, I just got it round. And there's absolutely no torn grain on here at all. But if I kept going, chances are we'd be popping some off. Now when I do another one next to it, this corner I'm getting right in the groove. In and out, in and out. If I crank the speed up even a little faster, it'll go better. And you want to keep looking till the flat on the top is gone. Okay, now those are two really clean beads. Now, who's never used a beading tool? Who wants to come up and try it? 3 people can come up and try this. Not you, we can do it at home. And this is the only time you can turn with flip-flops on. Yeah, there was a picture of Mike Mahoney. He had this apron on, and he was naked, turning, and then he had these great big army boots on. So you got to protect your feet. Okay? So the right corner is going right in there. Now you want to keep it 90 degrees off. Over here, we're a little more that way. And just concentrate on getting that started first, and then just in and out, in and out. And don't lower your handle. Keep it level.
That should be about there.
Yeah, now check it and see if the top is totally flat.
Yep.
Yeah, that's perfect. Who else wants to try? Come on. Come on. Okay. All right. And you don't have to try, but. You heard the description, and you got skills.
So
See, you're angling up. You want to keep it flat, but get your body up to it.
starting on the
You're starting
so
right there.
Okay.
And see, as this transitions around, over here we would be there. You want 90 degrees off the surface of the wood. Pull the red button. Yeah, and you're tipping it. Keep it flat. Keep it flat on the tool rest.
Turn it a little bit.
Well, you can, but usually you just go straight in. You keep tipping it over this way.
Because it doesn't feel like flat.
Yeah. And it's just a scraper. Yeah, see, your handle should be that way about 1.5 inches, a little more.
Okay, to get around the curve.
Yeah, to keep it 90 degrees to the wood. Yeah, you're not totally flat there, but we should move this around. Yeah, then you just work all the way down. Now this is the bowl gouge that I ground the back flat up here, and it created that little bit. Now I tried this at home, and see, I'm having it way below center. I tried it up a little higher, worked this way, and it worked also. See, now this one I'm wiggling it a little bit, and it works out really well. Who has some worn out gouges? Nobody? Yeah. Well, this is a good thing you can do with them. So you can come in and Yeah, when I have the flute down, wiggling it like this worked really well. The flute up, yeah, that worked pretty good too. This might be a little warm on the cutting edge, but here, pass this around too. And we could have paid attention and made those a little bit cleaner, but they came out pretty good. Okay, now I need to find number 1 and look at my 2 marks, get it back in that exact same spot. Put that back in the hole. Okay, so I need to adjust my tool rest. So I'm coming in 90 degrees. Can we go overhead? The tool 90 degrees off the wood. So as I come down here, that's the angle the tool has to be coming into the wood. Unless you want to get creative and try some different shapes with it. So. And it's okay to go in and just make lines like that. You don't have to do a whole bead with it round. You can do this exact same thing with that, just lines like that. Or you can do 3 lines to decorate the round. Yes, sir?
I'm trying to remember when David Nittman started doing that, whether he made beads or
just the flats on the top. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't know. But these weren't invented, so he used a skew for every bead. I'm kidding.
I don't think it was that complicated. I think he just made the grooves.
Yeah, it could be. I think he did both, actually. But, and
He was doing beads and using Ashley Lyle's beading tool.
yeah, and some of these aren't true rounded beads either. And you don't need to do them. You're the artist, you're the creator. It can be whatever comes to your mind, whatever you're capable of doing. Whoa! That was a catch. And this goes pretty quickly once you get going. I need to adjust my tool rest. I'm going to lower it down just to here. Oh, that's right, I had that crack right there. That's probably what, which had a hard spot in it. But having good wood, good material to work is important too. It's like thread chasing. A lot of people have problems with it because they're not using good enough material. Plus you need to pay attention to your tools. If they're starting to get dull, that's when you need to sharpen, not after they're dull. See, like if you're turning a soft wood like Norfolk Island pine, it's soft, but you have a lot of silica in the wood. So you got maybe 5 minutes of tool edge on your good tools. Whereas our mahogany, you can turn that for 20 minutes or half hour before you have, even though it's denser than Norfolk. I need to adjust my tool rest again. You didn't hear that. Okay, I'm going to stop there on that, because I would take this down probably 2 more beads, but I still want to hollow it. I'm going to leave the tenon on here. Yeah, this podocarpus, it cuts exceptionally well. There's one little minor chip out right there. So at this point, if needed, you'd go back and sand this. Just put it in reverse. This, you could take 400 grit and just clean that up. Except for this bead here. That's right where that crack is in the pit. Let's see if we can clean that up a little bit or do something with that. Okay, now let the fun begin. So we have our beads, our top rim rolled all the way down. Put our protective cover back on. Now, if your lathe had indexing on it, you could do that. Like my little Delta lathe, you open it up, and there's a pin, and there's 24 points that you can do. And same with the Jet mini lathe. I think there might even be 48 on that. But this lathe has 1, 2. We have 2 indexes. So there's a couple different ways you can do this.
You also make plates, like plastic flat plates.
Yeah, like this guy, Jim Anderson, he went online and downloaded these schematics for different number of lines radiating out from the center. And he took some Lexan and made round discs and glued them on with a hole in the middle that he could put right here behind the chuck. I have a thing like that I'm going to show you. And he has one that's like 192 different lines. If it's a bigger piece that warrants doing that. Like you saw the one. So if we take this one from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 times 5. That's how many lines are radiating out here on this one. And they can be any size you want to make them. Now, if you had the indexing, you could hold a pencil here and go and make your lines along there. And that's this process of doing it. I recently saw a thing where a gentleman had a wood burner. he made a block of wood and it was holding it there, and he had a platform up here. He goes, no more need for lines. He locked the index pin, went burn, 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 just slid it along like that. Kick it to the next one, burn, 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 burn. He didn't have to draw the lines first and then do these one at a time with that. Now, this is a knife point one, and this is a writing tip. Cindy bought a piece from Bill Oliver, and he didn't sign it, so I brought the writing tip, figuring he'd be here so he could sign the thing. So I'm going to try this on here, the writing tip, see how it works, but usually it's going to make too fat of a line, so I'm not going to even do that. But first we must do lines. So,
Lee,
yes?
I suppose you're going to cover it later, but before you decide how many indices you need all the way around, you have to come up with a design
You're right.
of what your pattern is. That is one of the more difficult things I find.
Yeah.
Coming up with that intricate design that you're going to color.
And for my demonstration, I have no clue what I'm doing right now. So, all right. Now, Cindy picked up this, which is Alizam Engineering. It's a indexing wheel. It goes right on here, and you screw the chuck up. This one was made for the Jet 10-inch lathe, or any 10-inch lathe. This piece you would mount. You have to drill a hole and tap it to put this pin in, and that way you just run the pin into the notch. So that goes on that way, and if you made your own plexi disc, you could do it like that also. And have it mounted. Now you need something to stop it. So,
I've got one of those setups.
yeah?
I've got one of those setups with a varying disc that you put on there, depending on how many holes you want.
Yeah.
And there's a vertical stand that has a pin, detail or pin in it.
Yeah.
So when you index, you lock. Yes, exactly. You lock in.
I made that last night. Well, I got another one I made too. Now this is part of a carving clamping system, but I thought, what if you just put that in there and you could just run your pencil along the edge for whatever shape you need. You can make a platform yourself, get a 1-inch dowel, put a screw into it on a piece of plywood, and do the same thing in your tailstock. Okay. So I made this, I put a self-tapping screw in here, and it fits perfect into these little notches on here. I'm going to have to turn my board around, I could see. And see, this is just a piece of melamine with the board on there and a clamp, and I made myself a work table. So right now, the center is a little low, but they're all going to be the same, so it's not going to matter. I tried to figure this on a 20-inch lathe right at dead center. My pool wood is a 20-inch, but they're all a little bit different. So if I stick this in that hole, we'll need this off to do that. Or I could stick it in this hole. Okay, let's go back to this a little bit. Now, on the directions to this, it says you can do 20 holes, 72 holes, 190 holes, 120, 144. So this thing is kind of versatile. I've seen other ones that are bigger with a lot of holes, and you just got to count whichever ones you're doing to get your lines. So I'm actually going to take this off and use this on here so I can do my marks. Sounds like the natives have arrived out there.
So in my setup, Lee, I built a table that actually goes into the banjo.
Yeah,
And then you can work right from that table.
yeah, that's a good way to do it. Okay, so if I get this in the hole, let's unlock the lathe, it'll work better. See, that one's pretty much on center. So I just want to come and do a mark, and that mark doesn't need to be all the way. See, I just tipped it. Supposed to tell me that. I thought you were on my side. Tipping again? Is that like cow tipping? Yeah, this board's kind of in my way. That's not going to work. Jeff, can you hold this? Okay. Should have put the screw on this side. Maybe if I angle that a little. I mean, I'm not going to do the whole thing because that's just taking up time, but you'll get the gist of it. But we make our lines all the way across. This table needs to be out more. This needs to be adjusted a little bit, but just so you get the idea. Let's go down to the next one. And that's right where the crack is, so we don't want to do that. And there are different ways to do it too. Like the one guy, here, we'll do it this other way. That would be even better. So I forgot to show you that part. The way Jim Anderson does it, he has his drawing with all the lines. And he has a line here on top of the tape. And he just lines that up with his piece. We're just going to kind of go from the bottom of the line, and then he takes the other part and does his line across. See, now that's not going to work either until we put it on this side. So I'm just marking the line there, and he just clamps it on like that. Just straight. Goes to the next one, same spot. Next one, same spot.
But if you had your wood burner tool, you could be just burning the
Yeah,
lines in.
yeah, and that's, yeah, I saw that on the YouTube video, but if you don't have that jig and the piece of wood and the block where you're,
But if you make the table on top of the banjo, then you can
Yeah.
slide it across.
well, this is round, so it's hard to control.
Yeah.
So you actually need to make two pieces of wood to hold it, and then you can come back and forth.
Cradle to slide.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't want this kind of tip. You would want the one that kind of comes to a point. It's rounded to a point. That way you could come and get in all the little grooves. But he was doing it this way. He had the lines over here. You just clamp, zoop, and making all the lines. Okay, that'll do just for our demonstration. And the next step is wood burning them. Now that big one that I have with over 28,500 burns, I figured if that takes 2 seconds to burn, that's over 16 hours of just burning. If it only takes 1 second to burn, that's 8 hours with no breaks. So I'm going to crank this up a bit, get some glow going. Smoke detector's way up there. So it's just doing your burns. But I did forget an important part, which I can do later or now. And you just burn the lines. And I find if I have this cranked up too hot, it creates a bigger burn that goes out. And if I want a finer line, like on some of the pieces I sent around, it's therapy. You want to sit back, have some nice music go on. Thing about it, the smoke will keep the mosquitoes away from you.
You know, those cameras pick up the UV off that.
Oh yeah?
Look, you can see how the camera, how bright it is.
Oh, it's not that bright. It's just a little orange. That's pretty cool.
From it or something.
And there are so many little lines and little squares and rectangles that if you mess one up a little, it's not going to be that noticeable. Unless wood turners are looking at it, because they're so critical. Looks like I missed one in the center here. See, if I was just doing that fast across, I'm missing some down in the groove a little bit. But notice how I'm holding my hands. This one's on the piece. I have my thumb on there, my fingers touching here, and I'm moving the body. I'm not just trying to do this, because you do little wiggles and wobbles, and that's when things get out of hand. So it's kind of like watching glue dry, right? I don't know, it's been growing pretty fast since we got a bunch of rain. Did y'all get a bunch of rain up here too? Like 2 or 3 days ago, 4 days ago?
I think the idea of having the tool rest with a platform on it and
Yeah,
running the burner along the top of that platform will give you a straighter line.
yeah, plus that takes out a whole step of you drawing these lines straight. Plus, you can do this sitting in a chair without it being on the lathe. But that other one where you have your platform up here, and it can be as big as this. It can have a curved cutout in there to curve around your wood. And that way you can just zip back and forth across there. And if you make that platform, it's also good if you're carving flutes and other things in your wood. Okay, now I did not do the wood burning. We need to darken the bottom of the lines too. So I'm going to crank this up. And remember, when you're doing the wire burning, never, ever, ever wrap it around your fingers. If something happens, it'll remove all the meat and you'll just have a bone or take the whole thing off. It has happened. So you need to crank up the speed. You need to have some good handles, good, strong. The nichrome wire is the best. You can buy them with balls already made. I made this last night just to have it done. So I'm stretching this taut, pushing down on it with a little force. Crank her up a little more. See, that did darken that line. It should start smoking too, but it's not necessary. Okay, that's enough because you get the idea.
And then what kind of wire do you use?
The nichrome, what's that?
Chromium wire.
Nickel chromium. The short is nichrome. And that's very heat resistant and strong. And you can use different sizes. I don't know what the gauge on this is. It's probably like 20 gauge or something. It's quite, I wanted a tight wire for down in the grooves. You can use a piece of Formica. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's. They have all them little Formica chips. They even got a hole in them to hang them on the wall. If you get the thinner ones, you could just crank it up, hold it down underneath, not up here, and just work it in there. It'll burn up the sides a little more too. So you can take like a piece of cocobolo and cut it at an angle like a knife edge and use that. The oiliness of that wood. But having the grooves darkened, you can see it gives a little more contrast. So once you got all your beads cut, all your lines done, you can have the bottom cut off or not already. Since I plan on hollowing this out some more, I'm leaving the tenon on there. Then we go to our markers. Now, Sharpies do not make good markers for this, because whatever finish you put on here, most likely it's going to bleed. So you need a better permanent marker. This is Indian ink marker. It doesn't bleed whatever you spray on there. So you want to kind of figure out your pattern. If you have a graph paper, you could kind of play around a little bit. You need to know how many spots you have around here. Like we were doing this, which there's 24. Or is there more than that? Maybe 24 or more. However many lines you need to figure out and divide it. If you're doing, see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can do 3, you can do 4, you can do 17. You need to figure out however many lines you put on there, you need to figure out that divided by the repeating pattern if you're going to do a repeating pattern. You can just color these all random if you want to. So we can take our markers and decide, my head in the way? You know, just try stuff on some graph paper. It's pretty cheap to come by, and look on the internet, Pinterest and that. You may say, oh, that looks good, or I don't like that, or this looks good on this piece, and this looks good on that piece. And most of his pieces, he only has 2 colors on it. The lighter color is the wood. And all his segments are cherry wood. He said he cuts up old solid cherry doors. Lives in Wisconsin. And the lighter color is the wood, then you got the black, and then you got the red on this piece. I had another one of these which had a whole lot of yellow on it, which it's at my neighbor's house now. So this would be off the lathe, and you want one with a really good point to kind of get down in there. I'll do it where we did the lines. How much time we got left, boss?
It's 10:36.
Yeah.
So if it takes 2 seconds each to burn the line, and on that big piece that was over 16 hours, and it takes 5 to 7 seconds to color one of these things, how many hours is that on that big one? You're not doing every one, so maybe you're doing half. So what's 5 times 14,250? How many seconds is that? So we color in our patterns. This one, the point is compromised, so I can't get down in there. So I could come over here and do this other color.
And then when you try to take it to a show and have someone try to sell it, someone wants to buy it for $20.
Yeah.
Well, I put 80 hours into it, so.
You say, get out of my booth. It's like Carl here. He had this piece about this size, and he had the rim on the top, and then like from here to here, he did a basket weave carving, pierced through and carved. And he said, how am I going to price this? He said, I figure it took me, 60 hours to carve it?
About that,
Yeah. So he was just figuring $20 an hour. That's not counting turning the wood and finishing it, just the basket carving. So he figured $1,200, and he put it at the show down in Miami, the big Ramble show. It was about that size, and $1,200. And about 10:30 in the morning, he says, his wife really liked it, and I decided to keep it. He took it off the shelf, and 20 minutes later, this guy come back, and he says, where's that piece? Did somebody buy it? And he goes, no, the artist wanted to keep it. Well, get him. I'm going to talk to him. So,
The final part of that is all the other woodcutters, they really liked it. They got
yeah,
kudos there, and they said, when are you going to make another one? And I said, never.
never. But the guy bought it for $1,200.
Wow.
So you can work out your pattern, and if this is off the lathe, you're sitting back in a recliner, just relax, music going, whatever. You can even do it watching TV, but you got to figure out your main lines. Like I would, if I was going to do this piece, there we go. I would probably do this black line, that black line, black line. Do those 5 black lines first. and then go from there. Okay, I need a red and a red, red and a red, just to get things started. Do all 5 of those around, and then progress it down. And again, draw it on paper, practice. You go, okay, I want to do this, but now I want to do a different design in the center here. You can do that too. It's up to you. So this is just kind of the basic process. There are different ways to do everything. And any questions? I did such a good job. Nobody has any questions? All right. Okay, and I got all the tools in the back over there. I'm selling for my buddy Larry. And we could do cash, Zelle, even a credit card, PayPal. So, Captain?